Hey, Israel, how you been?
I'm well. How are you?
Good, buddy. Well, here's the thing, man. I really appreciate you doing this interview for the Accessible Home Summit of Experts. It means a lot to me, and I know it's going to mean a lot to the people that are listening to this. Folks, you're going to get a tremendous insight from Israel's, let's call it vast knowledge of, in his case, hands-on contracting, but he goes beyond hands-on contracting. He does a lot of different things, and it's mainly involving elevators and lifts for a company called 101 Mobility. He works with the owner, Chuck Volmer, and gets all kinds of different work. He's running like a madman now, and I appreciate you taking the time, Israel, to put this thing together for us.
Absolutely, my pleasure, Mike.
All right. So, Israel, you're the go-to guy in so many circumstances for 101. But I guess let's just start with the basics and why this whole thing came together. And the whole idea is to be able to get people with physical challenges accessibility in their homes. You know, so many homes have barriers that these guys just can't get through. And I know you specialize in the various aspects of the elevator and lifts and ceiling lifts, things of that nature. And that's just a tremendous asset for them. So, folks, Israel's a dynamo. All right, I know that. I've worked with him. It's been a lot of fun doing it. He's always got a smile on his face, so that's a good thing. Has great rapport with people. So I guess the bottom line here is, Israel, what do you say we get this thing rocking? Okay, I'll get you some questions going.
Sounds good. I'm ready.
All right, you got it. All right, so let's start with this. Tell me about what got you going in this. Why are you so passionate about helping these folks with physical and emotional challenges?
Okay, so it all derives. I'm more so. I come from the engineering side of everything. So you're fixing problems constantly, but you're never really seeing them come to pass on the other side. It's all pretty much put it on paperwork, guesstimations at the end of the line, it goes to and helps someone. With working with 101 and doing what we're doing, I'm actually able to help directly that person I was trying to help before. So that passion of mine to complete a job, to help someone, to make an easier transition for them was the drive for me. I was in the military, so the veterans are very close to my heart. I lost a lot of good friends. A lot of good friends are now disabled. And through just nothing more than ingenuity, it's been helping them in situations that they would never be able to ascertain or overcome. This started for me with vans. I was actually with a van company. I got firsthand knowledge of some of these moving parts and got to touch, taste, and feel people that got me right close to them, so I could see their the struggle daily, and how I was able to help. With that, it just drove a passion that continued on for, it'll probably go till I no longer walk this earth.
That's an awesome thing. All right, so when you got involved in this, how did you begin? What really got you going on the contracting side of things?
It was an opportunity. Chuck and I kind of brainstormed together to help 101 faster in this area. And from that, ceiling lifts was my actual direction where we took off.
Explain that, Israel.
Okay.
Explain what a ceiling lift is.
So a ceiling lift is basically a patient lift that is hung from a ceiling or somewhat goes from room to room, making it easier for anyone, a caregiver, a mother, a father, a husband, a wife, to actually lift their child, their husband, their loved one from the bed, get them to the chair, get them easier into a bathtub or a shower, where a lot of them were carrying them or trying to lift them and hurting more themselves as well as the patient. So with that, the ceiling lifts is a great tool. However, it's intrusive. It has to be done right. You're going into the workings of the actual truss work in the house and attaching to it, which is the only way to go, so that it's strong enough to carry whatever the weight might be.
Right.
Done wrong, it can just turn into detrimental damage for sure to the
Well,
person and the household.
yeah, I I've done a couple of these with you, and you've been more than one. But so what I've seen is you take it from the bedroom, and you have to go through a doorway, and sometimes 2 and 3 doorways to be able to access the bathroom, as an example.
Correct.
What happens when you take it from the ceiling through the doorway? What occurs to this is not a simple process.
No, it sure isn't. So that transitioning is a lot of, for you and I, we know it as just proper measurements going across from one room to the next, but it is a lot of transitioning because you don't know what's in the ceiling, what's in the attic, what's actually in the way, because it's hidden behind drywall. So to the people that don't understand this form of contracting or work in general, they just think it goes from one room to the next. However, the ability to go from one room to the next with level changes and with the breezeways being different, and then the widths being different, there is a lot of time and energy that goes into the planning portion of it before you ever get started. So it's a long process from beginning to end, but at the end of it, it's so much better as far as making your house livable for your loved one.
Well, the amazing thing to me is I've seen a couple of moms and dads with what you mentioned it earlier, with severe back problems. I mean, you can only there was a child in Tampa that when he was a baby, it was easy to take care of him. Now he's 7, 8 years old, and all of a sudden now mom and dad are severe back problems, both of them. And that lift changes that whole dynamic, right?
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And for a lot of them, unfortunately, they didn't figure maybe the lifespan was going to be as long because the doctors didn't say it would. But with that, it makes the process easier for the family member, and for the loved one, it makes it easier to get to the rest of the home where it would have been a struggle before.
Yeah, 100%. All right, so let's go back in time. When did you learn how? Two things. When you mentioned when you and Chuck got the ball rolling, and that generally in the Sarasota area, but you cover most of Southwest Florida, don't you?
Correct. We go
Okay.
anywhere from Marco Island up to Tampa.
All right. So when, give me a year ballpark when you and Chuck got the ball rolling for 101 Mobility.
Ooh, 5 years ago.
Okay.
5 years ago.
All right. And is that when you got the training for the elevators to install elevators and lifts?
Correct. I've been doing this honestly for about 20 years in this field. And it's a passion. If you don't have the passion, you can't stay in it as long. I have a little bit of physical disabilities myself from the military, but working smarter allows me to do the installs and such. We just got onto the elevators as of the past maybe 4 years, where we're getting more into homes and getting to the next level. VPLs, which are vertical platform lifts, have been a consistent form for outside of the house and outdoor elevators. Inside the home elevators are a different animal altogether. And trying to wrestle that has been a little tough. There's a lot of people in the market, less care about quality of workmanship than us and some of the other ones.
Well, I find we have so many 55 and older communities with manufactured homes here. I mean, there's plenty of people all over the place, and whether you're a cement block home, but I specifically mention now the manufactured homes, because what I've seen on a consistent basis is each of these doorways are anywhere between probably 2.5 to 3.5 feet. above the driveway. And
Correct.
these folks that can't access them or have a, whether you're a senior with mobility issues or you're in a chair, they can't have a hell of a time. To put a ramp in that situation is completely intrusive.
I agree.
You have no place to park the car. It becomes a real problem. So explain a little bit about the VPL, the vertical platform lift in that situation. How do you address that and the solution?
In that situation, so it used to strictly be you put ramps, right? ADA compliance is for every inch, it's a foot. Well, if you're talking about 22 inches or 34 inches, 37 inches in some stance, they don't have the room for that, even if you wrapped around the house. So with that, the easiest pliable way is to go up to the house with a platform so that the steps are still there. If they decide to later on sell the house, it's a platform that covers the steps, and then you go up to it and you basically put the platform lift against the house and up to the what would be the platform. So that platform is level with the doorway and the VPL goes up to it. It's a straight through in most instances. Some are 90 degrees, meaning you go in and you turn either right or left onto the platform. Most of the doors open out. Out swinging doors mean you need a platform. There's no way you can swing the door out while you're trying to go up this lift. So that platform is crucial to be outside of a door like that.
Well, and I can tell you that one of the jobs that you did with us, we were able to keep, we actually built a deck, and we were able to build steps and put the platform out to the side. So they were able to have both aspects of it, which worked out really well. Matter of fact, we were just at that lady's house again today, believe it or not. And she was a happy girl. You know, you guys did a great job.
Yeah, you did a
And she was
phenomenal
happy
job
with
on the
us.
steps, no question.
You know what was really good about that one? She is in her 70s and her son is in a chair. So it accommodated both of their scenarios. It was really good.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Now they also have the VPLs for a 2-story exterior, correct?
Well, correct. It goes as high as 14 feet.
Okay.
So at 14 feet, it's a little bit more intrusive with the 14-footer and how it's going to hang and adjust to the side of the home or wherever it's going to be, the stanchion post. But it is the easiest way from get to the ground level to that higher 2-story, maybe 3-story in some cases, and getting to what would be an outside balcony or some type of deck. Even if you're in a 2nd-story kind of condo, getting to that 2nd story, this VPL will do it as well.
Yeah, it's really spectacular. All right, so you and I did a job for a interior elevator, and the house was being built, a beautiful house.
Yeah.
But the guy basically after the fact decided to put an elevator in, correct? So my there's two things I want to address here. First of all, to put an elevator in an older home or a 2-story home, you've got to have the right layout. You've got to be able to create something that makes sense, right?
That's correct.
All right. Then there's the concept of an ounce of prevention. So if that gentleman had planned for this elevator, it was a brand new home, he would have had a simplistic scenario versus the idea of him coming in after the fact, which cost him probably 3 times the amount of money. Would I be close to that?
Yeah, no, that's correct. That's absolutely correct.
Well, so the ability to know if you're going to put a 2-story home together and you're going to build it, that ounce of prevention thing, to find an access, whether or not you actually need the elevator today or not, it's wise to create the space. As an engineer, you would know that.
That's correct. At some point, aging in Florida is going to happen. The ground where we can go out is going to stop. We're going to have to start building up instead of out. And in those cases, we have to have a preparatory plan, which means stacked closets can turn into a hoistway. But it's planning from day one on that type of scenario. Aging in place, everybody comes here to retire. I'm going to retire here. I want to age in place. If I want a 2-story house, an elevator is going to be necessary. But if you do not align the first floor with the second floor, it's not possible.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing to me. Okay, so you've got these demographics basically that you're talking about. We're going to have to go up, not out, based on the amount of seniors that are coming down here. And both categories are being the percentages of individuals that are seniors and the percentage of individuals that are disabled, they're going up.
Oh,
And
correct.
so we are in a market that is critical that this stuff gets taken into consideration.
Agreed. Absolutely. Absolutely. As we're finding here over the last year, probably, it's that a lot of people that are presently living down here are moving their family members down also from New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania area, and north of there, Michigan, Chicago, Illinois. They're bringing their family members down because during the COVID, they were in their houses for 3 to 5 months at some times. So instead of maybe the Delta variants making it happen again, they're bringing their parents down.
Yeah, I can see that it's happening daily. It's interesting to me also that if you take your products and you put them into a house in advance, that makes sense. Okay.
Yes.
That the value, universal design, I want to talk about that for a second. Universal design is a house that looks, in quotes, normal, and yet takes into consideration the need of a person to access, whether it's a slide under sink, whether it's an elevator that is ready to be put in, or whatever the case may be. The concept of prepping that home for future problems is a very important thing. Because I got to tell you, Israel, there's a quote that came out the other day that I listened to, and I've been using it ever since, that we're all practicing to be seniors.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I'm done practicing. I've crossed the barrier. Yeah, you're practicing, partner. Sorry about that.
I got some quality time in practice.
So in this particular case, that's one thing, right? We're all going to have mobility issues. Of course, I'm not. I'm completely flexible and I'm like super person, right? Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll sell you the Brooklyn Bridge if you want me to. All right. So in the case of what can happen tomorrow, I've gone into so many houses, and I know you have too, of people that are suffering from a workman's comp claim that just occurred. I had a guy that had a piece of marble fall on him and lost both his legs, and that's not a lone story. You can get in a car accident in a second, your life changes.
Correct.
So to have a home that is accessible and provides full independence, whether it's for your veteran friends or for the disabled or for seniors that need this independence, age in place, it just makes common sense to me to be able to build a home that would accommodate that need. What do you think about that?
I absolutely agree with that. So preparation makes all of this so much easier, right? And at the stage that you're grasping it at, or that anybody in the architects, engineers, the building portion of it, their preparation makes for any home to be accessible if they'll do it from the beginning, because afterwards we know that it's a lot of going backwards to go forward. So that cost reverberates through all of that. So the cost of what it would be to do it from the beginning is going to be a fraction of the cost of what it would be to do in the 15th year of the house.
So
what else are you fixing at that point?
Let me give you a quick example. That's really amazing to me. The doorways that we see, whether it's pretty much in any house, the new houses too, are anywhere between 28 and 32 inches. 32 is actually more than what most of them are. 30 inches is pretty good. I mean, that's about right.
That's right.
So what we did when we built 6 of these barrier-free homes, and we put 36-inch doors everywhere in the house. Okay. Yeah, it was the right thing. But to do that cost me $4 more a door, right? Okay, now. And I was really generous. I ate the cost, right? So in this case, going back in, and I bid these all the time to enlarge a doorway. You're talking about $1,000. It depends. Is there electric in the wall? How wide do you have to make the door? You know, it goes on and on. You got to trim it. You got to paint it. You got to do all kinds of stuff. So there's a perfect example of what you're saying.
Oh, absolutely. So many unseens when you take it apart. What's going to be back there? Where the cat line drop into? Where did the electric come down at? Are we rerouting anything inside of there? Is there's so many moving parts once you get to just an opening of a door, and that's the small side of it. Now the bathroom needs to be bigger, wider. The tub isn't a roll-in tub. There's so many parts that just from the beginning, if you would have took the step, it would be so much easier, and they're classy looking. The homes you built are beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So to think that it's going to take away from the house, it absolutely will not. But
No.
that preparation makes it so much easier. Even in the case of selling a home, now that house is accessible to anyone on the market, and these houses do not exist on the market. An accessible home does not exist. To rent, to come down here and vacation, to own, it doesn't exist.
It's amazing to me. You know, when I first got in this, when I first realized that this was doable. Oh, by the way, I found out about this by doing a 2-story remodel that on Bokeelia, which is an island, it's an island off of Cape Coral. So the folks that actually advised me to get into this business had a mom and dad that both had to bring them into their home to retrofit their home. They said they spent probably upwards to 75 grand to do the things that you just got done talking about. I mean, you know, and if they had built the home, I don't know if they would have spent $5,000. I don't know, probably not, you know?
Right.
I see it every day that this is occurring. So you couldn't have been more right, by the way, on there's no accessible homes.
Yeah.
It's a tremendous need. So I had a lady, Beth Van Alge, who's one of the speakers. She said to me, she said, you know, it's unbelievable that, let's just say that this market crashes, which inevitably it will, okay? All markets do. She said, when you start to think about who's going to buy the homes that are, since they're having difficult time selling at that point, will an accessible home sell much easier? Absolutely.
Ooh, for sure.
And in terms of the cost, let's just forget the crash. Just the idea of the fact that your friends from Illinois and New York and whoever are coming down here, you know, they don't have any place to go if they're in a chair. Or if they're baby boomers, you know? So
that's right. Yeah.
You know, the percentages increase, the ability to sell increases because now you've got something that there's a need. And if they look the same, they're going to sell anyways. But if there's an accessible home, it's going to sell even faster.
For sure. It's an itemized market. It's untouched and they don't exist. So even if they were doing strictly hotel rooms that they were looking for to come down on vacation and visit, that is slim to none. So it's just so, it should be more affluent in a place that is a vacation destination. And it's not.
It's astounding. So I can tell you that I put a plan together, vacation rental. Okay, and I did that because there's a guy named Gene Lever, who's the president of our Liberty Access Foundation nonprofit. So Gene has been in a chair since he was 19. He's going to be one of the speakers also. I think he's in his late 50s now. But Gene he came down here to look for a home just like what we're talking about. Couldn't find anything. He says, I don't know, it was 20 realtors that he was involved with, something like that. And out of the 20 realtors, he got a few that said, yes, I can find you accessible home. So we'd go to the house and there'd be a mini ramp. and that was their accessible home.
That's what they're calling accessible. Yeah.
And then what you said about the hotel rooms, you know, you can't get out of the lanai. You can't get out onto the lanai because you got a 2-inch to 2.5-inch lip on on your sliding
that
doors. You have to have ramp to get
nobody
up.
thought about.
Classic.
Exactly,
It is.
exactly.
So that's a big thing. So here's the thing. Regarding that vacation home I was telling you about, I'm going to be pounding your brain here for some items. I think we'll probably start building it in about 6 months, but that's
Okay.
going to be something we want to do and provide the accessibility within that home, not just doorways, but the universal design, as well as potentially a couple ceiling lifts,
Yeah,
that
for
we
sure.
would have built in, ready to go if we needed to.
Yeah, yeah.
Would
They
that work for
do
you?
a great job of doing hideaway that are recessed into the drywall and just have a capper, and then you can put a portable lift onto it. So when a person that doesn't need it doesn't see it, and the person that does need it, it's still easily accessible.
Oh,
So
that's
we'll
great.
look at all of those things.
That's really, really good. I love that a lot. All right. So as you see the accessible community out there and the needs for it, what do you think is the highest value that can come out of your work?
Ooh, so there's a huge amount of different directions we can go with this. From the direction of just supplying it is one portion. As far as training people, there are not enough people in the area that do this or understand it. And a lot of training is the understanding of the work first. So as far as training people on the ins and outs of mobility and what to be aware of, is key as well. And as far as what, like I just said to you, there's a recessed track. People don't know that. They think ceiling lift, they think it's hanging from the wall, it's big, it's ugly, it's in the, but there's so many different technological advances they keep making on all of this that makes it viable, that makes it still good looking, approachable. And then there's different organizations we deal with. Like you were talking about and telling me the other day on the financing part of this. There's a lot of people that don't understand that portion. So for a lot of it, it is informational before it's ever anything else. And I feel like that's a portion that I could share, that you can share, and we could spread the word faster that way.
Well, that's the whole idea behind this thing. I agree completely. What I'm going to bring into the table for you, and I haven't even talked to you about this, is there's going to be some coachability, master class scenarios that I'm going to want to bring people to. And I have a feeling that without knowing this, but I just have a gut feeling that we could be bringing in some real talent to this area that would really assist your perspective, because I know you're jammed busy, and you've got to have somebody. Go ahead.
Finding people that are interested and have the same passion is one of the hardest portions of this. For me, for us, we could bring in anyone, but the person I want to bring in that works beside me, I want to have the same passion to help this client, this patient, this mother, this son, this father, this veteran. I want them to have the same patience, the same passion sitting right next to me, working on making this better.
When you say something like that and you're able to talk, I know you go into homes that you're working with around parents,
Yeah,
or around you. I mean, and whatever, you're working around caregivers and tremendously empathetic and compassionate and loving people. I mean, I've never seen anything like this, by the way.
no,
Okay. It's changed my life completely. But be able to have your skills in terms of both the physical capabilities to do the job and the empathetic concept, the ability to give your heart to them. It's a combination that is unseen in anything I've ever done. And that's what you have. And that's what that guy next to you needs, correct?
correct. Exactly right. Exactly right. Because there's going to be jobs that we have to go to that maybe you don't make a cent, but it is to make that person more comfortable. And And that portion of what you're doing, I appreciate that like you have no idea. There's going to be hours that we put in to that in and of itself, because there's so many people that need, and not everybody has. Right.
Well,
So if everybody donates something, it makes this whole bus move faster.
well, what's going to happen is, and this is another thing I'm going to talk to you about. There's a lady named Elena, and then there's another lady named Juliet. But we'll start with Elena. What we're going to do, you know how the Wounded Warrior projects take a vet and transform a house for him or her. Yeah. And this particular thing with Elena, we're going to take and we're going to do a retrofit. Basically, same concept as the Wounded Warrior project. And we're going to do a retrofit, but utilizing she's in a chair. Yeah. Has got a great life-changing story. Works with me on marketing and everything else that we're doing here. Perfect. Is a spectacular individual, and we're going to go take that house and transform it via our nonprofit, and we're going to work out a way to make this thing really good for her, which is kind of like a major advertising marketing concept that can bring to light. I've got a guy that's going to write an newspaper article, and I believe that we're going to get to TVs, etc. So I have a feeling I know your answer. Would you like to participate?
I'm for sure on board. No question.
Like that. That's good stuff. Yeah. All right. So do this. Tell me how a person is going to find out more about you and 101 Mobility, and what do we got? What do we got to know to get this going? Let me tell you why I'm asking. Okay. Not only are we going to do will they get something from this interview, because they're going to listen and take the notes now, but there's a reason why these people would want your information long term. So in the summit, the way the summit works is they're going to be able to get 24 hours worth of these interviews. So for example, if you're on day one, Israel, you're going to be one of probably 8 to 10 that are going to be doing interviews that day, half-an-hour interviews plus or minus. Now there's going to be very few people that will actually sit there for the amount of time to listen to all of these interviews. It's just not going to happen. But but they'll be able to buy what's called the Access Pass, an All Access Pass, which is a lifetime version of you and what you're bringing to the table. Not only the video, not only that, but the audio and a PDF file and all your information, which you're going to give me now, if you could.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Without question. So
what do you got?
For me, easiest way to get to me is either via email or telephone. For my email, it's Santiago, my first initial, Israel, last name, Santiago, at 101Mobility.com. My telephone number is a direct line. It is my personal cell phone that I keep consistent. I answer. If I'm not answering, I'm probably inside of an elevator shaft somewhere. But 941-780-3003. And if I do not answer, leave a message. I will call you back.
So in this case, Israel's going to have a page of his own, along with any videos he wants to put on, along with any contact information he wants to put on. And that's going to be in that All Access Pass. So when you do get involved with it, you're going to have Israel's contact forever. And that's just good stuff, because the things that he can bring to the table for you is something that you just never know. You might need it now, you might need it then, but you're going to need it somewhere down the road. And as much as I'm a super person, I don't think so. I need some help now, Israel. So you're going to have to help me out too, okay?
Every once in a while, we all need help, and I'm here for you.
No all right, that's good stuff. Well, man, thank you for being a part of this accessible home summit of experts. It's been a real pleasure dealing with you and talking to you. And I'm sure we'll be talking in the future, okay?
Indeed. It's been my pleasure. Thank you very much, Mike.
All right, bud. We'll talk soon.
Indeed. Bye.
Bye.